Welcome to a deep dive, everybody, into the world of, well, I'm going to be honest, a creature I had never even heard of until recently, the fossa.
Oh, Fossa. It's got such a cool ring to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, almost mythical sounding, but nope, totally real animal. And we're taking on a listener request today to figure out what makes this thing so fascinating.
Love it when we get those curveball requests.
Right. So we're going with the classic Wikipedia deep dive here using excerpts from the Fossa article. Should be interesting.
Definitely. And to kick things off, I think it's important to highlight just how special this animal is. We're not just talking about any other creature here. We're talking about the largest carnivore that's only found on Madagascar.
Madagascar, yeah. Island famous for its, what is it, like 90% unique species or something crazy?
It's something like that, yeah. A real biodiversity hotspot.
So we've got this ultimate predator that most people probably couldn't even pick out of a lineup.
Unless they were really into mongooses, maybe. We'll get to that part, though.
Right. Foreshadowing. But picture this, it's kind of like, imagine a small cougar, sleek, cat-like, but with this huge tail. And get this, they can climb trees head first.
Like they're showing off, right?
Totally. So hold on to that image because I want to get into why that agility is so important in a bit. But first, I got to know, what is this thing? Because I saw cat-like all over the place, but then some articles mention civets, mongooses. Where do we even land?
This, my friends, is where things get really cool. The fossa is like a poster child for what we call convergent evolution. Scientists were stumped for ages trying to classify it. Is it a cat? Nope. Civet. Closer, but still no. Turns out, genetically, they're most closely related to mongooses.
Mongooses, really. They don't look anything like, well, the few mongooses I've seen anyway. And way bigger.
Right. But here's the thing. The fossa evolved in isolation on Madagascar, separate from its mongoose cousins for millions of years. And because it ended up doing the same job as cats in other parts of the world, that stealthy, agile predator role, it evolved similar features.
Wait, so like sharks and dolphins?
Exactly. Completely different branches of the animal kingdom, but they look similar because they live in the same environment, need to do similar things. The fossa is a mongoose that evolved to be cat-like, because that's what worked on Madagascar.
Mind blown. So that incredible agility we were talking about, that's evolution tailoring them for the role.
Precisely. Long tail for balance, retractable claws for climbing and grabbing prey. Even their teeth are specialized for a carnivorous diet. It's all connected.
Okay, but before we go too far down this evolutionary rabbit hole, the name, Fossa, it's cool, but where does it come from?
This is where the story takes a fascinating turn, because fossa comes from the Malagasy language, spoken in Madagascar, naturally. But get this, it might be related to the word for cat in languages spoken all the way in Borneo.
Borneo, as in the island thousands of miles away.
Yeah, which hints at a connection way older than we might imagine. Maybe ancient trade routes, who knows. But there are theories linking it to the Malay word pusa for a type of weasel, which over time could have become posa for cats in Borneo, and then fossa in Madagascar.
So the name itself is like a clue to this whole story of human migration, cultural
A
exchange.
linguistic time capsule.
I love it. Okay, so we've gone from a mysterious name to an animal that's like evolution on fast forward and hints at ancient connections across continents. And we're just getting started. We're back with the fossa, everybody. And if you thought the whole evolution name game thing was cool, buckle up because this animal's lifestyle is just as intriguing.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're talking about an animal that's equally at home in the trees as it is on the ground.
Yeah.
Talk about adaptable.
The article mentions something about them hunting in groups sometimes, especially when they're going after larger lemurs. Made it sound pretty intense.
Yeah, so while fossas are generally solitary creatures, they've been observed cooperating to bring down bigger prey. Imagine like one fossa chasing a lemur through the trees, herding it towards the ground where another fossa is waiting to ambush it. Talk about teamwork.
See, that's what gets me. It's not just about being athletic. They've got to have the strategy down, too.
Oh, for sure. Their brains are just as important as their brawn in the Madagascan wilderness.
Speaking of strategy, what about when it's time to, make sure there are future generations of fossas running around? The article hinted that their mating rituals are something else.
Let's just say it's not your typical love story. It all starts with the females. Up in the trees, they'll start making this, well, it's described as a loud, alluring call.
Ooh, so the ladies are calling the shots here. I like it. What happens next? Do they just, pick the first fossa that shows up?
Not quite. They attract a whole bunch of males with that call. And the males, they'll start showing off, vocalizing, posturing, maybe even a little shoving to try to stand out from the crowd.
Okay, so it's like a singles bar in the rainforest, but who gets to decide? The female's got to have some tough choices with that many suitors.
She does. And here's the thing, she might not just choose one partner. She might mate with several males throughout the mating season.
Whoa, playing the field.
Right. But that's not even the most surprising part. The article mentions something about female fossas. Well, let me just ask you, have you ever heard of an animal that basically switches genders for a while?
Wait, what? Is that even possible?
Apparently so. As juveniles, female fossas develop male-like characteristics. We're talking an enlarged clitoris that's almost indistinguishable from a male's penis. They even secrete a scent that mimics male markings.
Hold on. Are you serious? So it's like camouflage. But for what reason?
That's the million-dollar question. One theory is that it might help protect young females from unwanted male attention. By mimicking males, they avoid harassment and can focus on growing.
Okay, so like a built-in defense mechanism. Wow.
Wow.
Just when I think we've covered the weirdest thing about fossas, something else pops up. But it makes you wonder, are there similar adaptations in other species that we just haven't discovered yet?
It really does. The animal kingdom is full of surprises.
It sure is. Okay, so we've got these incredible hunters, picky mates, and gender-bending juveniles. The fossa is definitely full of surprises. But with all this talk about how amazing they are, I have to ask, are they doing okay out there in the whole, not going extinct sense?
That's the big question, isn't it? And the answer, unfortunately, is a little complicated. Complicated in that, well, the fossa is currently listed as vulnerable, which means, yeah, they face a pretty high risk of disappearing from the wild.
Seriously? Man, that's rough. What's pushing them towards that mostly? Is it habitat loss like we see with so many species?
It's definitely a big factor. The deforestation in Madagascar is a huge problem. Less forest equals less habitat for the fossa. It's as simple and awful as that.
And didn't we say they specialize in hunting lemurs, which are also in trouble, if I remember correctly?
You've got a good memory. A lot of lemur species are in danger themselves. So as their populations decline, it directly impacts the fossa's food source.
Man, it's all connected, isn't it? Like one piece of the ecosystem goes down and it just ripples out. So what do we do? Is there any hope for the fossa?
There is. And this is where it gets kind of cool, actually. We've talked about evolution, we've talked about names, but now we got to talk about culture. See, in Madagascar, there's this concept called fady.
Fady. That's a new one on me.
It's kind of hard to explain briefly, but basically it's a system of beliefs and taboos that governs a lot of life in Madagascar, including how people interact with nature. And in some areas, this fady, it actually benefits the fossa.
Get out of here. So, like, cultural protection for an endangered species. How does that work?
In some communities, it's considered taboo to harm or kill a fossa. They might be seen as guardians of the forest or as having a spiritual connection to ancestors.
Wow. So it's like built-in conservation, passed down through generations. That's amazing. But is it, like, enough? Can fady actually save the fossa on its own?
It's a huge help, don't get me wrong, but it's not a universal thing. In other parts of Madagascar, they're still hunted, either for food or because they're seen as a threat to livestock. So it's not a surefire solution, more like one piece of a bigger puzzle.
Right. Got to think about the whole picture. So what about the other pieces? Are there organizations, like conservation groups doing stuff specifically for fossas?
Oh, absolutely. Groups like the Madagascar Fauna Group, they're doing fantastic work, researching fossa populations, figuring out their needs, educating local communities about their importance. It's all vital.
Education, yeah, feels key, right? Helping people understand that a healthy fossa population actually benefits everyone in the long run.
Exactly. Protecting the top predator, even one as unusual as the fossa, helps protect the whole ecosystem.
Man, we started this whole deep dive thinking, the fossa, what a weird name, and now I'm over here like, these creatures are incredible. Survivors, symbols of Madagascar's unique wildlife, and a reminder that even in the most remote places, what we do matters.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So, to everyone listening, if you're as captivated by this animal as I am now, do yourself a favor. Go look up some pictures, some videos of fossas in action. Those eyes, that agility, trust me, it's something else.
Nature at its finest.
Absolutely. And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive. Hope you enjoyed the journey. And until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep into the amazing world around us.